Hey, what's up guys, this is Val from Dreamlight. In today's video I'm going to do a review of Sci-Fi Atmosphere Processing Deck by Team Pain. And yeah, obviously this brings, thoughts to the Alien movies and all that. It just looks incredible, right? And looking at the images, we can see that, I mean, gosh, I just cannot find words to describe this, how cool this looks. But I always, want to take a look at the prop, how it performs, how rendering goes, how textures look up close, but it just looks amazing. Just looks amazing. Um, there is obviously a lot of copy and paste. You can see that on the textures here, right? But it's not a big deal when it looks that good. And the promo images are just outstanding. Super work on this. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into DAZ Studio and see how this looks like. All right, so just before going there, I'm just gonna minimize the screen and look at the zip file. So upon loading, the total file size is 231 uncompressed, and it has some content available here. And I always look at textures to see, if they are good. And I just think the textures here look really well done. Looking at them here, this is some good work on the textures. Nicely done, good details and all that. But I kind of lack normal maps. So we can see there is, there is like the rough stuff that we add to some of the channels, bump mapping and all that, which is great, but I would love to see normal mapping here. It's not available. All right, on that, the total size of the textures is 200 megabytes, which is really good. It means it will load completely into the graphic card and not, put some heavy strains on the graphic card, which is really crucial when it comes to rendering and using IRE, right? So what you also can see, if you go back to the content here, is that there is the environment loading icon over here, right? And back here, we also have the render preset, which is cool. We got two versions. One is a little bit brighter and one is a little bit darker. So inside DAZ Studio, where you can find this is DAZ Studio formats, my DAZ library, environments, Team Pain, and Sci-Fi and Atmosphere Processing Deck. So one icon load, simple enough. And let's see how it looks. And this is the first time I'm loading it. And I often, when I do my reviews, I don't spend, sometimes I spend a few minutes with a plugin or something just so I can get around it, right? But usually I don't want to spend too much time because I want to experience what you guys will experience, So there are camera presets, and quite frankly, a lot of them. Oh man, that's a lot of camera presets. I can also see here, and partially it's outside of the screen, but my goodness, there's a lot of spotlights in here. So obviously not so much emissive lighting is used, a lot of spotlights are used instead. Oh well, that works great and creates beautiful atmospheric effects, right? So let me choose a like 69 preset and let's just look at it. When I'm with the camera, it moves very quickly, so the prop is not heavy. I've loaded props that get really choppy here, right? But I think this is great, just moves really quickly. And let's see. Awesome. All right, so let's see how the presets work, all right? And here's my first real issue with the prop. I'd love the presets to be in the same folder. I love this prop. I just loaded it here and I would love to just click and change the mood but instead I have to go into a different library called render presets. And there is nothing wrong in having them in the render presets folder, but include them here as well. So it just makes using the prop a little bit easier. Because right now I have to go into a different folder. So I have to go into render presets and locate it here, team pane, sci-fi. And this is unnecessary work, right? So I'm not sure if I can just click on it. Like presets, use one, it says. Alright, so maybe we need to remove this. I'm not entirely sure. There is no information, unfortunately, that provides that, I don't know how to use this. So if I click on, let's say, brighter, what happens if I click on brighter? I have frankly no idea what just happened, but it looked brighter. Okay, that's good. And looks kick-ass. So let's change the camera. Let's see what we can do here. 2B. That's very bright. It's a little bit poorly optimized with some of the camera angles. The camera angle we just had was really overblown, and this one is also overblown, heavily overblown. So this brighter, and right now I'm not entirely sure if this is loading like double or not. It doesn't say. So if I click on darker, it doesn't use any additional. I think it just changes the environmental tab or something, like tone mapping. Let's see it. No, I can't tell any difference from the settings, but it looks great. This one, the darker, looks great here in the hallways, like where there's light. But if you use the brighter one over here, it's way too much lighting. So this is more suitable for darker corridors when there is less light and you want to light up the available light, so to speak. So guys, if you like Alien, the movie, or anything sci-fi-ish, that looks just amazing. And let's look at it without all the lights, alright? So I'm gonna just switch over to texture shaded. I'm gonna create a distant light. I usually use distant lights to, put some lighting on. And I usually rotate it around the set to get some additional light. Let's see if we can. And for some awkward reason, this light is not responding. And I think I know why, because we have a lot of lights in here. So DAZ can only preview 8 lights, right? So because we have a lot of them already loaded, we cannot preview this using a distant light. It won't. The way to do it would be to remove all the lighting folder, which will now change the order. Now distant light is number 1, and now I can undo the deletion, which now puts the lights back after the distant light. So the distant light is now light number 1. So that's the way to do that. So there's a drawback on having a lot of spotlights, obviously. That's you cannot preview the scene using a distant light. But, I mean, okay, I get it. There's a lot of copy and paste. You can feel it on every wall here, right? It's basically the same pattern across all over here. There's a little bit of variation, although that's good. But there's a lot of copy and paste, so it's quite a simple model. It's not like a, revelation in modeling, but the mood is brilliant, right? And it's, as you can see, it fairly fast on my machine. I have a GTX 1080, so it, performs well, renders well, renders rather quickly as well. So I think this is a great prop A little bit of copy and paste. I would prefer to have these in the main loading area, all right? No normal maps and so forth, but I mean, it looks really great. And after all, this is what we are after, right? We are after something that looks really, really kick-ass. And it does look kick-ass, so that was my quick review of this, guys. And if you haven't checked this out yet, follow the link below this video. Check it out at DAZ. That's all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, comment below and share with your friends. And guys, keep rendering, keep tweaking, and I'll see you next time. All right.